22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.
And are not afraid to say it. Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are tuned into Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show. We're on every Sunday, 6 to 8, streaming to you live from Facebook and YouTube. Real quick, before we start the show, I just wanted to give a shout out to my boy. I still can't believe it's been 3 years for all you hip hop heads. March 12th was the 3-year anniversary of the death of Craig Mack. Ironically, his anniversary is 3 days after Biggie, and they had that record together. I still can't believe it's been 3 years. I can't believe my homie's gone. So I just wanted to send love his way and to all the hip hop heads. You know what I'm saying? And thank Craig for always putting flavor in our ear. So I just wanted to say that in the beginning. And secondly, this is Women's History Month. Working on the issue right now. I'm calling it the Women's Month issue. Pushed it back a couple of days. Hopefully it'll be about Friday-ish or so. We are paying tribute and celebrating women of Westchester. You know, we've done those issues where we pay tribute to Ruby Dee and Lois Braun and all those wonderful women before us who have passed. We've done that. We've done the Women's History Month. You know, Sean Patterson Howard being the first Black mayor of the city of Mount Vernon, and all the other women who made history, Nadine Hunt Robinson and White Plains, and so on and so forth. This year, we're celebrating a little bit different. One of my mother's favorite quotes that I remember is she always said, "Give me my flowers while I am alive." So this year, we're celebrating a lot of women, as many as we can get into the issue, who are out and active right now. Most don't see them in the press. Most are out there doing various things, and they don't get a lot of press. Some do, some don't, and they don't do it for the press, but they put in that work, and we're celebrating women. And that's what this issue is going to be about, and I'm working hard on it. Lorraine Lopez, who I'm bringing in right now, has an extended Latino empowerment section. I think she got 5 or 6 women she spotlighted, and this should be a really good issue, probably a collector's item. So by this time next week, it should definitely be in the streets, though. But I pushed it back a little bit, so I just wanted to do it right. I wanted to celebrate women of Westchester, and there's a lot of unsung heroes in there. Some you know, some hopefully that you never heard of before. But hopefully everybody will walk out after that issue and be like, "Wow, I didn't know that about her," or "I didn't know her," and I'm glad they put her in there. That's what we're hoping for. So, you know, we try to do things a little different, try to keep it fresh. You know, you do the same thing every year over and over and over, you know. And let me just say, as I say for Black History Month, as I say for Hispanic History Month, the accomplishment of women are too vast to celebrate just in 31 days, whatever it is in March. But this is the calendar month we celebrate women, and Black Westchester is celebrating women with this Women's Month issue. And also hail to all, and let's keep saying this, our first responders, our nurses, our healthcare workers, and all the first responders out there who put it on the line every day. Hopefully we don't got no more surges coming, but who knows? We about to open up. I mean, this country keep fumbling on the 5-yard line and the ball going all the way back. So we getting close. Let's not pretend we there yet. Let's not celebrate. We ain't scored yet. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep our head in the game. Keep your mask on. Keep social distancing. Keep washing your hands and doing all those things. Eating your vegetables and your fruits. Keeping your immune system up. Exercise and all that good stuff. Get some vitamin D. Get out there in that sun when it's warm. All that good stuff. With that, welcome to the show. Welcome to the show. I am AJ Woodson, your host. Shout out to my partner in crime, Damon K. Jones, is not here this week. I have my lovely co-host, Lorraine Lopez, Latina Empowerment. She holds it down. Yo, she holds it down. Just shout out to Lorraine. Shout out to Lorraine.
Listen, big shout out to, speaking of amazing women, we got 3 listening right now. Donna, Nolan, Maddie, and Janai Longwilders. 3 great friends of mine. Maddie and Janai are both going to be featured on the Black Westchester edition.
Right. And kicking and screaming, yes, we are celebrating Lorraine, even though she didn't want us to do it. She has to get her due, give her flowers while she is alive. There's a lot of things we say about people when they're dead and they can't hear it. We need to all, and I hope that's something that spreads. Give people their flowers while they're alive. And let me say this one last thing. No matter family, friends, or whatever, you might have feelings, you might have disagreements, but don't miss the opportunity to tell someone that you love them. Nobody is promised tomorrow. We should have learned that lesson, if nothing else, from COVID. You know what I'm saying? So you don't want to spend the rest of your life saying, man, I wish I had one more time. I could have let them know I loved them. Or you was mad. The last conversation you had was a fight with your mom, with your sibling, with your husband or wife, or you know what I'm saying, your child or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Close friends, whatever. Yo, don't wait till tomorrow. Yo, after the show, call somebody, text somebody that you love, and let them know you love them. Just hey, I love you, and that's it. You ain't even gotta say no more than that. Just let them know. We need to spread more love. That's what's wrong with this country right now. We need to spread more love. A lot of things can be conquered. Love conquers all. I truly believe that. And we definitely at a time right now where we need more love. Shout to Dr. Chase, the hero Dupree Chase. Shout out to my other co-host, Robert Baskerville, Dr. Bob. He said, what's up, lovely Lorraine Lopez and AJ. Shout to Keisha Mom. Shout to David Gage. You know I can't pronounce your name, my brother. But your last name, I hope it's Vieira. I'm not sure, but shout out, my man. How are you doing? Holla at me. It's been a minute. And everybody else who's tuned in. Donna Nolan said, Lorraine, because Cruz, he was from Boo Wilson Park. Do you know Cruz? He's from Boo Wilson
condolences Park. To his family and all that loved him. He passed away.
Okay. So condolences to his family, his friends. I don't know that whole situation.
I didn't know him, Donna, no, but I knew of him. And I know he was well respected, and he was a big influence to a lot of the teenage fellas out there.
Shout out to Diane Atkins. She's watching.
Hello,
what's up,
ma'am.
Diane? A lot of people don't know her. My mom were good friends. I've known her well before this. She was involved. I knew that she was involved in politics and all that. I knew her and husband for years and years. Lots of cookouts and dinners at the house and all that. So shout out to Diane. And Donna Nolan said, yeah, great guy. And she gave the heart sign. So without further ado, we're about to bring in our first guest. There he is. What's going on, sir?
How we doing?
Lorraine, introduce our guests.
Hey, today we have with us Councilman John Rupo. He's a council member in the 4th District in the city of Yonkers, and he's actually up for re-election. So he's actually collecting signatures. Anybody out there in the 4th District, give him a holler if you need to sign his petitions.
Can I say one more thing since you said signatures? So I got messages and I've been seeing on Facebook, and I want to say to every voter out there, people are coming up to you bringing petitions. Make sure the person who's bringing you the petition is the person who you are signing for, because I've been hearing about people collecting signatures for other people, their opponents, or whatever's going on. There's a whole bunch of funny enough stuff going on. Make them show you a piece of campaign literature. So if you don't know who that is, that's actually for your signature. So that person, you see their face matches the person's name that you're about to sign for. There's a whole bunch of stuff going on, and I haven't gotten to the bottom of it, but I've been getting a lot of calls over the last 2-3 days. So
that happens every year.
Not just Mount Vernon. Yeah, it's not just this specifically in Mount Vernon, but in several other places, Greenberg and several other places I'm hearing. So make sure you sign. And when the person asks you for your signature, if you don't know them, make them tell you who they are and why you should sign. Don't just hand over your signature. Your signature is valuable. Okay, I just wanted to, I get on that every year around election. I just want to, do my due diligence. So how are you, Councilman?
I'm good. Thank you for having me tonight.
Absolutely, absolutely. So it was great talking to you. We had a conversation briefly before the show, thanks to Lorraine, and it was good to know how you feel on certain things. And I look forward to getting to know you further. So first and foremost, for the people that don't know, who are you? Why are you running for re-election? And then part B of that is, why should they vote for you?
All right. All easy enough questions, I think. Well, thanks for having me. I am a lifelong resident of the city of Yonkers. I grew up near the Cross County Shopping Center over by Seminary Heights. I went to school, Catholic school in Yonkers, but I'm raising my family here. I started a business here in downtown Yonkers. I even used the name Yonkers in my business. Just
tell us the name of your business. Tell us the name of your business.
I don't want to start promotions.
No, that's okay. That's what this, get your little promotion on real quick.
No, and I appreciate that. So, back in 2012, I started the Yonkers Brewing Company. And then
that's you. Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And then in 2000,
I never knew that was you. Yeah.
Yes, all that delicious beer you drink, AJ, is mine. And then in 2015, on the Yonkers waterfront, we opened a brew pub, a restaurant, so you can come and see where we make the beer, have a variety of different types of food, and it's just really a really neat atmosphere for families to come and hang out. Pre-pandemic, we used to have a bunch of video games and board games and all sorts of stuff. And it was just a really fun, lively environment. So we're trying to, keep things moving. As you said, people are getting vaccinated or they've had the virus, and it's been a really tough year for people. So I think as we start seeing this summer of 2021 come up, I'm really hopeful and optimistic that we're going to start getting back to normal, whatever normal might be.
And that's if we stay diligent too. A lot of times, right. like that running back, he's ready to cross the goal line before he even actually catches the ball, and then he fumbles, and they run it back to the other end. We don't want to fumble right now. This is too important. We don't want another surge. We want to do what we got to do and ride this out. And hopefully 4th of July, we all have a cookouts like the president said, because I'm definitely looking to being at my sister's house and not being in Westchester the 4th of July. I'm going to tell you, it's been a minute. So, you know what I'm saying? So
he has.
So what is the name of the one? What's the name of the one on the riverfront? You said where you can.
So it's called Yonkers Brewing Company. It's Yonkers Brewing
Company.
Okay.
Yep. Right. Okay. And you can watch. You said you can watch the beer being made or something like that, or what?
Yeah, you can come and we'll give you a tour of all the tanks and where the beer is being made. Right now, I'm sitting in our laboratory at the brewery. I don't have any beer in here, so I'm all
right.
beer right now. But right in here is where we make it. It's packaged. We put it into cans. And so when people come, we try to give them a little bit of a tour of what's going on here.
I am definitely going to take that tour when things are safe to come back out. I am definitely. I just sounds interesting. I've never done that before. Go and play, just watch the beer being made and packaged and all that. I definitely got to put that on my bucket list. So yeah.
All right. Maybe we can have a show live from the brewery.
hey, that'd be interesting. Yeah. So okay, so we got your businesses. And
yeah. So I've born and raised in Yonkers. As corny as it sounds, Yonkers is my life. I'm raising my kids here. My wife and I are raising our kids here, and this is our home. So out of college, and this is kind of where I ran into Lorraine. I had an opportunity to work for the city of Yonkers years and years ago, and I worked for a previous mayor's administration, and just got to know the feel of the people of Yonkers. As big of a city as we are, we're really a small, tight-knit community. The people who are active, everyone knows one another. You know, you cross paths so many different times, and then that's where Lorraine and I really met.
And after that day of meeting Lorraine, your life has never been the same, huh? Like
it's been better ever since. No, yeah, Lorraine and I go back. And
I watched him grow up to be the man he is today.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. So I really enjoy being a Yonkers City Council person. It's like anything challenging, but I really have a great district because my district literally provides so many jobs for not only the people of Yonkers, but for the people of Westchester and even parts of the Bronx. So in my district includes Cross County Shopping Center, which has thousands of jobs. In my district is Empire City Casino, which has about 1,200 jobs. I cover McLean Avenue, which all of the bars and restaurants and shops from Bronx River Road way all the way down to South Broadway. So my district actually cuts off just around School 13, which is just about, I'd say, maybe a quarter of a mile to South Broadway on McLean Avenue. And I cover everything, in between. So I like to say I have the best district in the city. But don't tell my colleagues.
So now, since you have a lot of businesses in your district, especially some of the small ones and bars and stuff, and COVID ravished a lot of small businesses, what were you able to do to be of service of your businesses to help them stay active, stay open, and be able to reopen?
So during the early parts of the pandemic, I stayed in close contact with a lot of those bars and restaurants, and certainly as I was getting information about my own establishment, I was able to share it with some others. So we were able to talk through PPP loans and the emergency EDIL, I think it was called, grants and loans that were available. Now there's so much more that's coming out and the information is rolling. I'll say the federal government acted quickly, and we're all trying to figure this thing out at the same time, right? No one's experienced a pandemic like this before. The government hasn't, business hasn't, families haven't, and so we're all learning kind of quickly as we go along. And so we just tried to. My goal was to get as much information out there as possible. And then try to make it easy to do business, not only here in Yonkers, but during the pandemic, just to try to figure out how can we make it easy for outdoor seating? How can we allow you to put up a tent? And how do we not knock you over the head with all sorts of fees and whatnot? So the city really stepped up, and Mayor Spano, helped us in doing so. And take, for example, out in front of my business, I would normally pay about between $1,400 and $1,600 a year for a permit to put tables out in front of my business. Last year, during the pandemic, the mayor said $50 filing fee, and that's it. That's all businesses have to pay. So, businesses like mine, like restaurants on South Broadway, restaurants on McLean Avenue, restaurants on Yonkers Avenue, like DeCosta's, we were able to just file a $50 filing fee, and put tables and tents and everything outside. So it worked so well that I'm now working with the administration here in Yonkers, and we're going to bring a group of businesses together, and we're going to figure out how to just do this forever. You know, people enjoy sitting outside. There are a lot of restaurants that want to invest in outdoor, structures, so that this way they can have something a little bit longer through the season, protect out for the rain. So I think, we're going to head in the right direction to continue helping businesses.
I hope that, I say we're in a new normal. I hope that is something that does continue, and people invested a lot of money to do that during COVID, and we continue doing some of that outdoor stuff. I think that's important as well. So again, what made you decide to run for re-election, and why should people vote for you? We got back off track of that.
Yeah. So why did I want to run for re-election? I just genuinely love Yonkers, and I love helping people, and so as elected officials, people will often ask, especially now with the days of Facebook and Instagram and all these things, if it's almost like if you're not posting it there, you haven't done it, and sometimes I think that's unfair, because we just want to be able to help people sometimes, and it might be that phone call about, hey, how do I get this permit? Or, hey, this week I received a phone call from a constituent of mine, and they have a handicapped child. And during the snowstorms, they shoveled the snow out in front of the house, and they put a garbage pail in front of the house so no one would take their spot, because they needed to be able to get their child in and out to the bus to be able to go to their special needs school. And they got a ticket. They got a ticket because it's illegal, technically, in the city of Yonkers to put a garbage pail out and save your spot. And so, just something like that would come across my desk, and we can try to figure out a solution on not only being able to help this family, but be able to help other families like this, so that this way, this doesn't happen again to a family in need. So it's those types of stories that I really genuinely enjoy working with the people that, live in our community. And we really do have such a great city. There's so many people who are active, who get involved. I saw Maddie's name popping up here. Someone like that who just is contributing back to continue giving back to make our community and neighborhood better. So those are the things I enjoy, and that's why I want to continue to serve. Before I made a couple promises 4 years ago. I'd like to think I delivered those. So one was delivering on infrastructure, right? So, when you live in a city or you live somewhere and you're paying taxes and you want to see, nice roads, you want to see where your money's going. And often when we invest 30, 40, $50 million to repair, our 100-year-old sewer lines or water lines or infrastructure, it's all under the ground, right? We see the city chopping up the roads, but then we really don't see where the money goes. And so what I really tried to focus on is a lot of road pavings, because when you go out and you're driving on a fresh road, all right, that's where my money's going. In working with our public works department in my district, my district right now is the only district we're going to be experimenting with this new paving. But what they do is we can pave in a different format almost 4 to 5 times as many streets with the same amount of money. And so it just, goes to help improve your quality of life and things like that. And then number 2, which is really important to me, is schools. I made a promise early on that I would continue to fight for our schools. My child goes to a Yonkers public school. Yonkers public schools, I feel like, are the last big piece to our puzzle. Our schools do so many great things. We don't tell the story well enough. We tell a story about $4 billion of economic development, buildings going up, jobs being created, people moving in. But we don't tell the story of all the great work our kids are doing and our teachers are doing and our administrators are doing. And that's where I think that's that last big piece of the puzzle.
I want to say one thing, and then I want to let Lorraine. I'm sure she has a series of questions. I'm actually, and I don't say this. I'm glad that I actually don't live in Yonkers, because y'all would have got tickets from me all the time. I have 2 women that live in the house. They don't have nobody in a wheelchair. And when you got to shovel all that snow, and I shovel and clear them spots, I put them garbage cans in front of the house too, because people just come in and they didn't shovel and they take your spot. Now I got to shovel for the women in my house. One is a first responder, a healthcare worker, works late, and she comes home. I don't want to be going out there midnight to re-shovel up and open up another hole. And we didn't clear this space. We did our part. So yeah, y'all would get a lot of tickets from me, because that's what we do. We shovel that up and we put some cans out there and kind of dare people to park there. Like, yeah,
exactly. I know.
Taking some spots. Yeah.
There's nothing worse than coming home and seeing your spot gone.
Right. So Mount Vernon, don't listen to Yonkers. Keep doing the things the way you're doing and do not change, please. Because yeah, we would get a lot of tickets here. Lorraine Lopez, anything, like a lot of people say I'm well versed in Mount Vernon because I live here. When there's Yonkers issues and things going on in Yonkers, and I hear something and I get a call, one of the first things I do is call Lorraine, because she has been my, for lack of a better word, ghetto tour guide through politics in Yonkers. So I have to turn the mic over to her and let her ask about some Yonkers issues.
Hey, John, we have a COVID vaccination site in the city of Yonkers. Can you tell us a little bit about it and how's it going?
Absolutely. So the governor announced that they were putting a mass COVID vaccination site in Yonkers. And the first week they restricted it to a few zip codes in Yonkers and Mount Vernon, because they wanted to hit or give access to some of the hardest hit areas locally. And the first week or so, people went in and out, and now it's open up to really everyone in the county that would qualify under the guidelines for the state. And it's gone fantastic from what I understand. Yeah. My mother went up. My brother was up there. I have some employees under restaurant guidelines who were able to get up there. Senior citizens from my community that I know went up there. People here in the First Council District, where my business is, that I know have gone up there. I think they've done, if I'm not mistaken, over 100,000 vaccination. Is it 100,000? No, excuse me. It was 10,000 vaccinations within about the first week.
Okay.
They're really, I bet you they can do up to 2,000 a day if they wanted to, but it's about having access to the vaccines. Right. So from what I understand from everyone who's gone, the process is so seamless. They get online, they check in, they show their email confirmation, they go and get vaccinated, they wait 15 minutes, and they're out. Most people are not even there for an hour, which is great. And everyone I talk to, everyone I see posting on social media about it, they rave about how easy it is to come in and out.
I've been there about 6 times since it opened with different people. I didn't get my shot there. I wish I would have. But I've been there about 6 times with different people. And the longest wait you actually have is to 15 minutes waiting to see if there's any adverse reactions. And every single time I go to every single soldier. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. I get so excited because it overwhelms me with emotion. The National Guard and FEMA are doing an amazing job. Kudos to them, because it is working extremely, extremely well. What do you see is going to be probably the biggest obstacle for you as a city council member once COVID is over? We've got to rebuild somewhat. What are we rebuilding?
So there's going to be a lot of challenges. Number one, we have to stay optimistic and prepared to help businesses, right? Because the last thing we want is to have gone through this pandemic and yet businesses then start to shutter and shut their doors. That will make an impact economically. Already, we've seen just in the last year, more than a $40 million drop off in revenue to the city of Yonkers because of the pandemic. And that hurts because now we're trying to make that back up, but we'll really never make it back up. It's great to have some of the money that's coming down from the federal government. Luckily, we have really great representatives that are working hard to send the local governments money directly, which is important, but that's only a one-time infusion of cash, right? So you can't settle labor contracts with that money. You can't do this large infrastructure projects with that money. It becomes a challenge, right? Because you want that money to last you as long as you can to try to deal with some of these major hiccups we've had. And so we've had really major hiccups. So we need to take a look at this budget in particular. And as you know, Lorraine, the budgets in Yonkers never get easier. My first year on the city council, our healthcare cost alone for city employees and school employees went up $15 million. $15 million. So where do you find that money from? If you were to raise taxes just on that, it would cost you 7% on tax increases just for healthcare costs. Forget about contractual raises, cost of living increases, minimum wage increases. So we definitely have a challenge. I'm hopeful that the state of New York will help us in the school system, but I think that's one of our biggest challenges. But what I just found out this past Thursday, which I think is going to be the absolute most serious issue we're going to deal with, is depression and suicidal thoughts from our school children. So, as most people know, the school district gave out thousands of computer devices to kids to work at home, right? And so the Board of Education in Yonkers tracks what's downloaded on those computers, where the kids are searching on the internet, because they want to make sure that the kids aren't doing something that might be inappropriate. And 27.8% of students, as they were tracked, were searching for suicidal ideation, meaning how to commit suicide. That is devastating. There was another large percentage of kids who were searching for depression or about depression. So the Board of Education is working on this. As soon as they found out about this, they're dealing with it. They came across a young girl not just about a week or two ago, I believe, that was literally standing on the roof of her building. And they called the family, and the family didn't even know she was up there. They alerted the police department, and the police department was there to help talk this girl down. This is going to be probably our most serious issue that we're going to have to deal with. And when you're talking about a school district like Yonkers that has maybe one psychologist or therapist in the schools for thousands of kids, it's not going to be enough. And that's going to be a place that we really need to focus on.
AJ, turn on your mic.
Yeah. Mental health. I'm glad you spoke on that. That has been a problem in our communities before COVID. And COVID made it a bigger issue. COVID just shed more light on it, and it's something that I've been saying that we need to do in our community. And we don't think about our children, and I've said on this show and other shows, staying home all the time, working at home, not having really human interactions with people and stuff. I've had my moments, my little bouts where I just didn't really want to be around people. I didn't want to really do nothing. I wasn't suicidal or anything, but I was still having my little, little depression or whatever. It's crazy. And so I say that check on your children, check on your seniors, check on your neighbors, because you never know what someone is going through, because there are so many people suffering in silence because of the stigma that has, so they don't want people to know. So, check on everybody. And we have a question from a listener, Gail Baxter. Shout out to Gail Baxter. She said, question for John. What are your views regarding the homelessness problem? One, and what are some of the problems that challenge fixing that problem?
That's a great question. And homelessness, although I think was a little bit more prevalent in areas on the west side, have now become, an issue citywide, and not as maybe drastic as some communities like New York City or San Francisco that we see where they're setting up these tent communities. But homelessness is an issue, and not to pass the buck on this one, but homelessness and homeless is a topic that Westchester County is responsible
Thank
for.
you. Thank you.
Now, the city of Yonkers, I think we do our part. We have a grant that the administration has been looking at trying to invest in opening another site where the homeless have a resource, but it just can't be a building. And our police department have recognized that. Commissioner Mueller actually mentioned just this past week to the city council that as they've been more and more involved in working with the homeless, they would ask some people, well, why won't you go into the shelter? And they'll say, well, look, I bring my book bag or I bring my cart. And if I just put it in there, I can't lock it up. People are going to steal my stuff. Okay, so now they were able to invest in lockers that are locked up, and they could put their stuff away. And it just gives people a little bit more sense of security when they go in there. But still, we need to work with people. And I talk to a lot of people, in our downtown that are homeless. And I think the challenge is that we're not offering enough mental health support and substance abuse support. We're not offering enough support to be able to work with people. And then the biggest challenge of it all is people need to want to participate in that, right? So if they don't want to participate, and believe it or not, there are people who rather sleep on the street than go in the shelter, even when it's 5 degrees outside. Sadly, we had a death in the city of Yonkers of a homeless person who froze to death and this past winter. And so it's devastating, but we need a real concerted group effort to solve this. It shouldn't just be the county's responsibility, but right now it is. So we need the county to put more than just 1 or 2 resources here. We need a very focused, committed effort to be able to work on this.
Maddie is talking about tiny houses and a farmer's market. And she has a petition she's asking people to sign too.
So I've seen the tiny houses concept. Tiny houses. I think there's a lot of. So why tiny houses? Tiny houses is a way to help with affordable housing. It's a way to help people with who are homeless, to give them a safe, secure place to live. Right now, I think there hasn't been much of an effort to think about the zoning of that. Right? I think where tiny houses work as more of a larger community, you have larger plots of land that you could designate. Unfortunately, in Yonkers, we don't have these large plots of land that we could set aside, city-owned land, that we could set aside and look to plop up, 25, 30 tiny houses. What we do have is smaller, much smaller, non-buildable lots, that sit around the city that the city tries to sell off for revenue. Maybe there's some way where we could try to reinvest that revenue into other land to try to, address some of that. But I like the concept.
I've seen that. I've seen that going around a lot lately. As always, especially when we deal with Yonkers, Gail Baxter always has some thought-provoking questions. So she has a couple of questions more for you. One was, okay, I read that one. As the chair of the real estate committee, why is the ongoing housing development concentrated in densely populated neighborhoods on the west side. Example along the congested Walburton Avenue corridor. Why not areas on the east side?
So there's a couple things to that question. So number one is what you're seeing built on Warburton is a lot of municipal housing that's being rebuilt. And so almost all 2,000 units across the city of Yonkers of municipal housing, and that's all run by the Municipal Housing Authority of Yonkers, that's all being rebuilt. You do see some other stuff that's been built on this side, like the Simmons brothers had built some stuff on Warburton Avenue.
I remember them well.
Right? Remember?
Yeah.
And I think James still lives in the trolley barn where the brewery's located, so I see him all the time. But so it's really, when it comes to private affordable housing, it's really wherever someone wants to build it. It's free enterprise. When you're talking about the Affordable Housing Ordinance, which I think Gail also referenced, that's really wherever there is market rate construction, right? So market rate construction is the new buildings on the waterfront, the Ginsburg project on Downing Street, down by Ludlow, the buildings on Main Street, the towers that went up. That's all market rate. Those are rented out for a lot more than I can afford. And as part of building those, they have to build affordable housing within it. So why are we concentrating that affordable housing on the west side? Because that's where the ordinance pushes them into those buildings that are market rate. Now in my district on McLean Avenue, just by the entrance to the Sawmill Parkway and Park Hill, there's a developer coming in. He's going to build I think between 70 and 100 units of senior affordable housing. So it's being built across the city. It's just, really, it depends on the type that's being built. Private developers will build wherever they want. Could be the east side, could be the west side. And the market rate developers, where the ordinance affects, is mostly on the west side where the building is.
Lorraine?
What's your opinion on increasing the affordable housing requirement to 20% as opposed to 10%?
So I'm okay with 20% if 20% works, right? So as long as we still have people coming in to build and they say 20% will still allow us to build and make a profit, or, there are programs available to us. See, Yonkers and basically everything outside of New York City is different. New York City is an animal of its own. New York City, because of their vast property tax base, they can offer or demand 80-20, which means 20% affordable. And they can give these 30-year, property tax discounts because they have billions of dollars coming into their budget from property taxes. Yonkers doesn't have that same tax base. So we can't offer necessarily the same discounts as New York City can. Now, with that said, White Plains just changed their ordinance and they went to 12%. They went from 10 to 12. Now, Yonkers right now is at 10. I don't know that I necessarily want to look at the percentage, like 20%, 30%, 10%, as much as I want to ask a question is, who are we trying to help, right? So are we trying to keep young families here? Families of one, families of four, families of three.
Talk about that, yeah.
Right? Are we trying to keep them here? Because if we are, the affordable housing ordinance has been proposed. It doesn't help them. Because what we're saying is, okay, Mr. Developer, you're building 400 units on the waterfront. 20% of your units have to be affordable. Okay, well, most of what they're building are studios and 1 bedrooms. A couple 2 bedrooms. If you're lucky, there's 3 bedrooms in the building. But the market, right? The people who are coming to live in those, the market calls for studios and 1 bedrooms. So you're not going to you don't want to squeeze a family of 4 into 1 bedroom. And sometimes you have to, but in this case, we're trying to give people an opportunity, give them a comfortable place to live. Let's not squeeze them into a one bedroom. So I don't think the ordinance addresses that, but the city of Yonkers is investing $100,000 in a firm that has written affordable housing ordinances for Detroit, New Orleans, and other places. And so they're coming in. We should have a report back from them in the next 4 weeks. And they're going to tell us, okay, this is what we think the market can bear. This is what we think builders will build. This is what we think will help your community. Now, I'm advocating to take this all a step further and that the city continue to invest in this firm to tell us other ways to bring in, to make it more viable to build affordable housing, to have more people like Conifer or West Ave or other affordable developers to come in and build, so that this way, works for everyone. I mean, we need more affordable housing, but I don't think this ordinance addresses it all.
One of the things I've asked several municipalities, when these developers come into your town, your city, and they're building, what I would like to see more of is, as part of the arrangement, the agreement, they have to hire X amount of percentage of people from that municipality. So you're not just, because you're coming here, you're making money, and all of that. That's another way of helping the city. That's if you're really trying to do something for the city. That's a good way of helping the city help. And buying stuff from local stores, like if there's the local hardware store or something, like getting some of then you're putting money. You're not just coming here to make money.
Like local beer.
You're putting money into the business. Yeah, you're putting money in some of the businesses. You're hiring some of the local. The homeless is a problem. Unemployment is a big problem as well. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know if you have any thoughts of that or have done anything like that. So.
Yeah, so I completely agree with you, because that money then is just getting reinvested into the community.
Right.
That benefits everyone. It benefits the business owner. It benefits the developer. It benefits the city of Yonkers because of sales tax. It creates jobs. So I completely agree with you. And I think how you get there is you need to have open and good, solid communication with the developers and get those commitments in writing, get those commitments verbally. They need to be investing in our community, and hiring from the community, right? When it comes to construction jobs. And I know, I'm pro-labor, and I want to see as much local union labor working on these buildings as possible. But the fact is that, when you hire a local union electrician, there are times maybe those electricians live in Rockland County, right? And so they're not necessarily from Yonkers. They're not necessarily from Mount Vernon. I think we need to continue to do a better job at putting the people who live in our cities to work.
Right. Absolutely. Hector Santiago had a question. Has there been an attempt to reach outside of Yonkers for developers whom are building affordable housing, and if so, how?
So I don't know what process the city goes through, or the administration, the mayor's office would go through to try to solicit developers to come and look within Yonkers. There are lots of affordable housing developers who work right over the line in the Bronx. We should be having conversations with them. I don't know exactly what conversations are being had by the mayor's office. Although I can talk about this all day long, ultimately it comes down to the administration to execute it. I would like us to see, and maybe this is the first place I'm saying this, I would like the city over the next few years to make a commitment through our budget. And maybe we could set aside, I don't know the number, 250,000, 500,000, more, I don't know. But let's come up with a number that we could set aside as part of our capital budget and allow that money to be used to incentivize affordable developers to come and build here. And we can build more housing, we can get more people interested, and Yonkers we will be investing too. We will be putting that money in as an investment or an incentive to get people to come and build. And more important than that, and I know AJ, we spoke about this a little bit, is I would like us to see like staged affordable housing, where maybe you go from municipal housing to an affordable unit in one of these new buildings. From the affordable unit, maybe now you go into a program, and we talked about this, where we have affordable home ownership, right? Because from that affordable home ownership, maybe you have that family of 4 and you're living there for 10, 15 years. Now your kids are going to college. You could use the equity from that house to be able to help send your kids to school. It's your retirement. It just continues to help progress families, along. And that to me is the American dream.
Absolutely. Lorraine, any questions?
Are we going to get to Riverfest back?
I hope so. So one of the things that I did, and Richard Halevy, Lorraine,
Yeah.
So Richard and I worked on Riverfest when I first was working.
I remember. That's why I asked you, is it coming back?
Yeah, before all these buildings were on the waterfront, I remember the first guy I got to hire was Jose Feliciano. But we've had so many great artists, and now it's kind of morphed into this music and arts festival.
Artsy, yes.
Right?
And people from all over the county come. Everybody, people look forward to it. Yeah. And
it is a fun day. We've been fortunate with the weather the last couple of days, but I'm hoping 2021 allows us, if we're willing, if we're able, by July and August, like you said, AJ, 4th of July, Lorraine, Riverfest, or the festivals at Trevor, or the Fall Festival on McLean Avenue. Hopefully we can start getting back into that in a responsible way.
Is there anything I did not ask you that you want to discuss, a platform or your record? Again,
No, well, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. I can talk and talk. I always tell people, when they're interviewing me, I can talk and talk and talk, because there's so much to talk about in Yonkers, whether it's the good things we're doing to bring jobs or housing or businesses, small businesses especially, and our schools, and that's something we need to continue to tell people, the great things that our school kids are doing, but. I think as we talked about earlier, we need to make a shift and make sure that our kids are safe. We need to make sure that our kids have an outlet, a place that they can come and talk to adults that can help them if they're in need of help. We have a lot on our hands in the next couple of years, and we really need to band together to be able to solve for some of that.
I may have asked you some form of this, but I will ask Maddie's question. Since you've been in office, what have you done to better Yonkers for all of the residents? And are you willing to work more closely with the community, whether it be weekly town halls or meet and greets, to come up with solutions if elected again?
Yeah, absolutely. I'm always willing to get together and sit down with people. Over the summer, I hosted a series of town halls where I tried to get a few different commissioners or people to come and speak about the things that they were doing, and just communicate a message, get a message out there. Because the one thing that happens often in any community is rumors, right? And rumors are sometimes so dangerous. And I've been talking to so many parents just this past weekend who heard rumors about, we're going to have school up until August 1st and only give the kids a few days off over the summer. We're going to force Saturday school on kids. We're going to, just all of these things that parents have heard. So I always try to have, be open and transparent. When I first came into office, I started coffee with the councilman. I tried to do beer with the councilman, but I didn't want the liability. So now we just do coffee with the councilman. And we had a couple of people who would come and we just talk about things. If there's something we can solve, I'm always going out to different community meetings or hopping on Zooms for community meetings.
Yeah.
I only represent one side of the city. But I'm always open ears for, people all over the city.
And this I'm asking everyone in all the municipalities. So in a couple of weeks, the governor came up is requesting all of the municipalities, all the cities, towns, villages, to come up with a police reform committee and report and everything, and it has to be handed in with, I guess, April 1st. How is the city of Yonkers doing with theirs?
So the city had, or the city council had about a almost 2.5-hour meeting on Zoom that was publicly broadcasted the other day with our police commissioner, John Muller. And this is to review the recommendations from the police reform committee that was formed by the mayor. And they came up with a series of things and recommendations and offered them up to the city council to accept, approve, and pass along. And John Muller really had all positive things to say. And he said, look, John said, I did not want to serve on the police reform committee because John is going to be the one responsible for implementing those changes. So he's tried to stay on the outside, just looking in like the rest of us. But I think the committee's done a fantastic job at coming up with really great recommendations. Everything seemed very reasonable. And so we're going to pass those along to the police department for implementation. Now, I will say this, the Yonkers Police Department, over the last, little over a decade, had the Department of Justice here, Federal Department of Justice here in the city of Yonkers. And they were looking at our police department. And this is under, President Obama's. This is President Obama's Department of Justice that were here diving in, looking at processes. And they ripped things up and they made Yonkers a better police department. I think we are very unique when it comes to our police department. We have a department that, they continuously do pizza with the cop, pizza with a police officer, coffee with the cop, and all of these different things to have community engagement. They're out there working with kids. When the schools were really open, they were out there with the school kids. Keith Olson, the PBA president, was out every Friday and Saturday with the football team, the force, working with the kids, buying them dinner, serving them dinner, talking to them if they needed, to talk. We have a police department that is engaged with the community.
Yes, we do.
Right. And so we've done a lot of things well. So we can always improve. And that's what Commissioner Muller said. We can always improve. But to kind of tie Yonkers into all these other police departments that have stains on them, I think would be unfair. And that's why Yonkers is in a little bit more of a unique place because of what we went through with the Department of Justice. So I'm really proud of the men and women in our police department. The one thing we are going to continue to commit to, and this started when I was working for the city many years ago, is trying to, we always say it. We want our police department, our city workforce to look and feel like the community, right? But you can't force it. You can't force it. It has to be organic. You have to encourage people to take the test. We'll help you study for the test. But if people don't want to become police officers or firefighters, then they don't want to, right? We don't want to force it, because the minute we force it, then maybe we send the department in a direction that maybe we're not too excited where, what the result's going to look like down the road. We just need to support the kids who want to take the test.
I will. I'm adding in our co-host is here, Dr. Bob. I will say, for the record, though, I do agree with a lot of what you said. I know that Yonkers Police is definitely trying to hire more persons of color, because both the police department and the fire department from Yonkers have both come on the show when they were doing recruiting, and they both taken out ads to full page ads to advertise the test, and like I said, then come on the show and talk about the test and why they should take the test and encourage community of colors to come. But no matter how good everybody thinks they're doing, there's still some distrust in communities of color overall of police. And with that said, I know as far as I know, no municipality in Westchester has a CCRB. When there is a complaint, not saying there's a bunch of complaints now, but in place when there is a complaint, if I've been abused by the police or whatever, the last place I want to go to file is the police department. I may not even trust them. And there's no active CCRP. I want to know if that's something you're thinking about implementing with these new reforms, or is that a discussion? Because as far as I know, no. Now Vernon has it in there. They passed it, but they don't have it funded or whatever yet. But as far as I know, there's no active CCRB in Westchester County, as far as I know.
So Yonkers doesn't have a CCRB, but what we do have is we have a committee that's made up of civilians and some police officers, and they field the complaints that come in, and we work with the department's investigative unit or internal affairs to be able to look through these types of things. But you're right. If you have something in place, you need to make sure it's funded. What you also need to do is to make sure that you have police personnel or people familiar with the process, right? So the familiar with the process of arrest, familiar with the process of handling a person that's been arrested or dealing with someone. I'm happy to see now that we have the body cameras, because I think that will help in both sides to really to be transparent. But I agree. I think some form of a civilian complaint review board is important. We have the basis for it here in Yonkers, and I think the Police Reform Committee has made some recommendations on how to expand it a little bit. And Commissioner Mueller said that he thinks anyone who sits on this, any civilian who sits on this, could go through the Civilian Police Academy that the city of Yonkers runs, and it just it trains people. And I think Majority Leader Corazon Pineda had done this at one time, where you just go through the process and learn what a police officer does and the laws, and you do a ride along. I haven't done it yet, but apparently at the end they tase you, which I don't want to do.
We don't want that. No.
Other than that, then it's good, because it just has everyone have a little bit of a basic understanding of what what they're going to be working on under the CCRBs.
Now I'm going to wrap this up shortly, because our next guest is already in the green room. Dr. Bob, welcome him to the show. I know he was watching part of the show. Briefly, Bob, because we're about to close out, did you have a question for the councilman or something before he goes?
Not necessarily. Okay. Welcome, Councilman. It was a pleasure listening to the discussion that you had with AJ and Lorraine. Certainly, I wish you well on your re-election endeavors, and not particularly AJ. Of course, like the councilman, I'm never short of words, but
right.
I
Okay, Lorraine. Last question, because we have our guest coming.
It's not a question. I've got something I want to say, and it's going to take me just about a minute, AJ. John, because I want people to not only to know about your ethics as a councilman, as a businessman, my dogs are fighting, but also the type of human being you are. Now, I've known you for practically most of your life. And when I say I'll take a bullet for you, I mean I'll take a bullet for you, because I love you that much. 10 years ago, and this is something I've never said publicly, 10 years ago, I was broken. John. I had charges that I was not in the right state of mind to defend. My house that I had just burnt down. I was homeless with 2 children, 5 dogs. I was sick. I was dying. I was 84 pounds. Everyone turned their back on me, John. Everyone. One day, when we talk about suicide, I was there. I was there. And one day, I took my dog Domino, who's still with me, by the way. I said, let me take a walk to the River Fest because I needed to see people. But I knew nobody would recognize me because I was 84 pounds, no hair, dying. So I walked over to the River Fest and I saw a woman, a Latina leader that I knew and loved and was very close to. And I saw her and I went to hug her and she jumped back like if I was a leper. She's still around. She worked for a senator's office. And right then and there, I was destroyed. I said, I can't come back. So I'm walking to leave the River Fest. You was talking to two gentlemen, John. You turned around, you saw me, and you said like this to the guys, and you came over to me. And you grabbed me. And you hugged me. And you asked me if I was okay. That was everything to me, John. And I want the people to know that you are an amazing human being. And I will always be eternally grateful for you for that. You didn't know, but you made a difference in my life. And I love you and I thank you for that. I'm sorry, I got triggered today. I'm sorry.
No, that's good. That's real talk. I do want to.
I'm back though. I'm a badass again. But I was joking. I just want to be clear with that.
I just wanted to read something that Gail said before you go. She said, correction, the Department of Justice issued the Yonkers Police Department a technical letter under the administration of George Bush, not Obama, and the settlement was canceled by Donald Trump's Department of Justice. So I'm not sure. I have to look that up, but I just wanted to bring that out just because if that's what it was. But any last words? How do people reach you? Social media, website?
Sure. I'm on Facebook. I'm on Instagram. I'm reachable by email. It's all the social media handles are Councilman John Rubo. I have a website, councilmanjohnrubo.com. And my email address at the City of Yonkers is john.rubo@yonkersny.gov. The telephone number up there is 914-377-6314. And anything I can do to help really anyone in Yonkers. If you need something, please feel free to give me a ring.
And if you live in his district, please reach out so that you can sign his petition.
Thank you.
One of the Facebook user, but they're not signed into Facebook, so it just says Facebook user. I don't have a name. They said, I am heartbroken listening to Lorraine. Thank you, John. No, they said, thank you, John, for what you did for
good.
Lorraine.
Thank you, John.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you, John.
That's what they were saying. Go ahead, Bob, and then we're going into our next guest, Nadine. Yes.
That was actually Carmen Gomez Goldberg.
Okay, thank you for that. Yeah.
Carmen.
Sometimes when I don't know why some names show up and some don't. Some just say Facebook user, and if I'm not on the page that they're on, I can't see the name. So thank you, Carmen.
You got a hell of a fan club, by the way. I'm watching the people. You're pretty popular.
So last comment. Maddie says one of the only people who volunteered his time to cut the part for my foundation.
Yeah, so
such a stand-up. So
yeah,
thank you.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
No.
No, go ahead if you were listening.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you. We tried to help Maddie there. She has a big overgrown park that we're going to finish cutting all the rest of the weeds and overgrowth this year. So I just want to thank you guys all for having me on tonight. It's always a pleasure. And to my friend Lorraine, I appreciate the kind words. At the end of the day, we try to give of ourselves to our community and our friends, and there's no reason to turn our backs on each other. It's I don't know.
You're a good guy.
Words, Lorraine.
You're a good guy.
Well,
You're an excellent council member, and you deserve re-election.
I want
We
to
need
thank you for coming. I want to thank you for taking the time to come on the show. If and when you're reelected, I hope that you utilize this forum when you need to get a word out to deal with the issue and get a word out to the people. And best of luck.
Absolutely. Thank you so much. Thanks for having me, everyone.
Absolutely.
Thank you. Thanks.
And we're moving on to our next guest. I'll play my little promo real quick, and then we're going to... You are now tuned into the People Before Politics radio show, brought to you by the good folks at
Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Black Westchester. Check the newspaper.
Real talk for the community since 2014. So now we are going to go into our next guest. Lorraine, would you like to introduce our guest, please?
Yes, sure. Our next guest is Miss Nadine Lyons Burns, who is a founder and secretary for the Charter School of Educational Excellence here in Yonkers. She's also executive director of the Sharing Community, which is a non-for-profit humanitarian organization here in the city of Yonkers as well.
Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for inviting me to the show. I'm excited about talking to everybody tonight.
And let me say thank you for your support. The school has advertised a few times over the past couple of years, and I don't take that lightly. So I thank you very much. It's my first time actually talking to you, so it's good to meet you. So tell us a little bit about the school. I think Lorraine said, "Well, you the founder or one of the founders." What went into founding the school, and how did that process come about, and what made you want to do that?
Okay, yes, I am one of the founders. Our chairman, Eddie Laguerre, Sabeda Cruz, myself.
Friends of mine, yes. Wonderful. I love him to death, both of them. Yes.
A friend of mine who's no longer living in Yonkers, Sheila Morris. We were all founding members. Actually, Eddie had introduced me to the idea of charter school in the late 90s when I was the president of the Westchester Black Women's Political Caucus Yonkers chapter. And it stayed on my mind. And then we got together and we started saying, let's do this. Eddie was a real driving force along with Sabeda. And, we did, had to write the proposals, interview with the state Department of Education, review curriculums. It was a lot of work. It was a lot of hard work. But it's something that I really believed in because I feel as though parents and students and community as a whole needs to have options. Our schools are overcrowded, and education is a big thing for me, as it was for Eddie and Sabeda. All of us had children in the schools, the local schools here. So I was just so excited about doing it, and it was a dream that became a reality. It's a lot of hard work, still is a lot of hard work, but we managed to partner with other folks who are just as committed as we are. Our teachers are committed, our custodians are committed. It's such a wonderful school community, and our parents are committed. And that's a big, big, big part of it.
So one of the things we try to do here is educate people as much as possible. So for people that don't know, what is a charter school? And then I want you to, after that, I want you then to one of the big criticisms of a charter school is that it possibly takes away money from the public school. So if you can just answer what is a charter school and then address that criticism, because people need to know. There's just so much white noise out there. People don't know what's true and what's not true. So
A charter school is a free public school, but instead of being authorized and overseen by the local school district, we are overseen by either the state education department or the State University of New York. That's who we report to. We have an actual charter that lists the board members, our mission, it details everything about the school curriculum. And because it is a free public school, we take students by lottery. We cannot pick and choose students. And that's why the same money that is used for other public schools is used for us, except the charter schools receive less. We receive about 75-80% of what the district schools would receive per child.
okay. Also, let me. I should have said this in the beginning. It is Women's History Month. I'm calling it Women's Month. Happy Women's Month. So we're celebrating women in Westchester for the whole month. So I just wanted to throw that out there.
Yes, we are, and we've got a lot to celebrate.
Absolutely. I mean, now I know a lot of men might not agree fully with me, but it is good to see more women
Dr. Buckle, his drink down. He said, hold on.
I'm not saying we need to have all women leadership or anything like that. Like, I'm not going to say we need all black leadership or anything like that. But it's good to. Women have been marginalized for a very long time. Like African Americans, no right to vote, no right to do this, and all this other stuff. So y'all had a lot of obstacles, and being black and being a woman, that's like two things at you. And women are right now excelling to a whole new level, breaking glass ceilings of some sorts. In a lot of arenas, we now have our first female vice president. Which is huge, regardless of color. Just female vice president, like.
Right.
And I think that's an accomplishment. You're starting to see more of a diversity in our in Congress, and I've said plenty of times on the show, the Yonkers court now looks more like the city looks. Usually courts are just white men, point blank. The court in Yonkers actually looks. You had two African American women this year, and you had a Latina the year or two before that. So women are reaching, and I think it is time. I think we need to work together, though. I don't think that we need all women or and get rid of men. But I think this country got messed up a little bit with some just all men leadership, and it's time to give some women some shots, and it's time for us to work together. I think, and we can't let outsiders divide us, though. And see, that's one of the problems that happens.
Yes.
They excel women to put down men. You know what I'm saying? And we can't let that division happen amongst us. So that's what we're doing, celebrating women. And I just wanted to bring that up. And it's good to see some more women in leadership right now.
It's absolutely necessary. Our society is not all one race, one gender, one religious belief, one anything. And so we gain by including everyone. Everyone has different skill sets, different experiences that they can bring to the table. And it's important for all those things to be considered, because in the instance of a school, you're working with children from many different areas, backgrounds, ethnic groups, religious groups, income levels, all kinds of different experiences. And the more people that we have working with our children who can understand where they're coming from and how to help them move along and be successful, the better. We all complement each other. There is no reason for us not to work together.
Right. So I just wanted to say that, and I definitely wanted to throw that out there. I think some people push it too far where they want, like I don't believe that we should vote for a person because they're black because we're black. I don't think we should vote for a person because they're a woman or because they're a woman. I think we should vote for the best qualified candidate. I actually was called sexist on one of our shows by someone because I did not support Hillary in the primary against Bernie. I thought Bernie was a better candidate that year. But it's like, I'm not sexist because I didn't vote for her. I thought Bernie was a better candidate. You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's my opinion, and that's my right as a voter. Right. But so we have to stop the noise and have real talk with each other. And I think once we open that door and have real talk and sometimes have the difficult conversation, we can cut through some of that white noise and I think we'd all be better off. So, I mean, that's just my 2 cents I just wanted to throw out there. Lorraine, you want to kick off the interview?
Yeah. Let's go. Going back to the charter school of educational excellence. I know it's very successful, so much so that there's a lottery and a waiting list, and you folks are expanding.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about the success of the school and your expansion.
Okay. Well, the school was founded in 2005, and we started just with the elementary school. And
On Warburton Avenue, by the way.
Right, on Warburton Avenue. And we had the kindergarten, first and second grade, and each year we added a grade. And when we got to the end of what would be elementary school, we had started having conversations about, well, maybe, we need to expand the school. And the parents were demanding that we expanded the school. They loved the experiences that their children had with us. They were comfortable, they were achieving, and the parents didn't want them to leave us, because, our administration, our teachers assistants, everyone, was such a cohesive team. And so we went ahead with the leadership of Mr. Laguerre, who was always up for the challenge and pressing on to the next and motivates us all. We built the middle school. And now we are almost completed the high school, which will be, it's right adjacent to the original elementary and middle school campus on Lamartine Avenue and Warburton Avenue. So we've got pretty much a whole block there. And I can't tell you how excited I am about it. Something that started just as an idea in 2005. Not only did we do it, we exceeded everyone's expectations. And, we have a legacy here. And it's wonderful for the city of Yonkers, for the community. We are open to the community. We invite them in for different things. We try to make sure that we include as many people from the community as possible. Businesses, of course, the parents. It's important. We have the Nebraham Community Center right down the street. We collaborate with them. It's just important to all of us that the community understands we're part of the community. We're just not a standalone educational facility. We're part of the community. I live in the community. Eddie lives in the community. Lives in the community. Sabeda, on and on. We are from the community. I am a transplant from Long Island, but that was 1983 when I moved here. So I'm part of this community.
What part of Long Island?
In Nassau County, a little town called Lakeview. Went to Malvern High School.
Okay. I spent some time in centralized in Suffolk County, but I was always in Freeport, Roosevelt, Hempstead, all that area, Garden City, all that. Yeah, so I know that area well. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I want to add AJ is being modest right now. He is known for having coined, popularized, if not coined, the term Strong Island.
Okay.
Part of his
I'm with that.
so,
Definitely with that.
what's the name of your group? I'm sorry, JVC Force.
Yeah. I was in a rap group called the JVC Force. We actually made the record in 1988, 33 years ago, called Strong Island, sampling Chuck D's voice in a chorus, and we are greatly responsible for the term being popularized and called that. So, but shout out to Chuck D because we sampled his voice. He's the one that said it in one of his records that we sampled. But before that, no one was really claiming Long Island. Most of the rappers were from the 5 boroughs. So even the rappers that were big in Long Island were not claiming Long Island. Rakim mentioned it casually. Chuck D mentioned it casually. But after that, it gave pride for a lot of other people in Long Island to then represent Long Island and with pride. So yeah, I'm proud of that. This is the 33-year anniversary of that record this year.
So, but moving on to the high school, it's a regional high school, which is something a little different, which means that we will have students from the city of Yonkers, of course, but we're also accepting students from the surrounding towns and also from the Bronx. Now, one of the things that we did, especially in light of what's going on with the pandemic and the hardships that people are going through, is that we're providing free transportation for those students coming out from outside of the district.
Wow. Okay. How has the pandemic, it turned everything upside down. We went through this. Do we homeschool? Do we partially homeschool? Do the teachers work at the school and then the kids stay home? Do we do it separate, a couple of days a week? So how were the challenges that you had to overcome throughout the pandemic, and how did y'all overcome them?
There were great challenges with that. And one of the biggest challenges is that when you're having remote learning, your students need to have access to the internet, and they need to have a device, a laptop, a desktop, an iPad, something to be able to participate in the classwork and do their homework and submit their work. And we have a portion of our community that is financially challenged. So we made sure that we provided laptops for everyone and assisted them with getting internet service as well, because we had to not let these kids fall behind. It's hard enough learning remotely. This is the kids are better at it than we are, but it's still difficult being at home, not in the classroom, distractions. Other children in the family are at school at the same time, lots of voices, phones ringing. So we worked really, really hard. And like I said, the leadership of Mr. Laguerre is like no other. He calls the board and says, listen, we've got to tackle this issue. Our superintendent, Cindy Lopez, she's Wonder Woman. I don't know where she gets the energy. Our team, it's so important. All of our teachers put in extra time and effort, revised their lesson plans, tried new techniques. They're incredible. I have never worked with a team of people in my entire career, and I was born in the 50s, okay, that are so dedicated to making this work for our students, for our parents, and for this community.
I'm gonna
let you. I just want to comment when she said, and I'm gonna give it to you, Lorraine. So you said every student got a laptop. You said every student that attended got a laptop.
Everybody.
I think that's great. Okay, I think that's great because one of the complaints was some house, they keep saying how many houses got laptops, in public school, but it's like some houses got 3, 4 kids, so every kid didn't have a device. So you're saying every student that attended got a device. If that's the case, I wanted to compliment you on that, and that's really great. Go ahead, Lorraine.
No, I just wanted to mention that. By the way, shout out to Carmen Gomez Goldberg, who's also part of that team, who's out there every day. She goes above and beyond. I do want to mention that she said that there's a lot of families that are economically challenged, and let me just say there are a lot of young women that have their children in the charter school. And I can tell you, I can vouch that I know so many of them that have told me that they would have found it difficult to survive and difficult to navigate the system during COVID had it not been for the school being so attentive and so helpful. And when I see people online saying stuff like about the school, you always have somebody from the charter school, one of the parents saying, not the charter school, well, we got this, not the charter school. All my kids have access to computers. All the kids do. It is a very well known, a very well respected school. And I can speak for the young mothers out there. It's been a godsend to them because unlike the Board of Education, you just can't to speak to somebody. You have to make an appointment via the Board of Education. There's so many channels to get to the principal, to get to this one. In the charter school, they have more of an open door policy. Well, I don't know about COVID now, but no one feels like they're a burden. No one feels like they're intruding if they have a problem, if they have a question, if they need any help. The charter school has been there helping people with food insecurities during COVID as well. I mean, it's not just education. They're helping them, during the time of COVID as well. Now, let me ask you a question, Ms. Lyons. Do you have regular music, art, sports? How does the sports program work?
We've got aside from the academics, which we're doing great at, we've been a reward school for 7 years, designated by the state. So doing great there, but we've also got the athletic teams because children need more than books, classroom work. They need physical activity to help them grow, learn to work with each other, etc. So we have football, we have basketball, we have soccer, we have cheerleading, we have what did I miss? We've got a full sports program that will continue to build, for males and females. And they've been competing and doing very well and learning those additional skills that you build when you're part of a team and socialization, etc. And they, up until now, of course, they were traveling to some of the other top schools, competing at those schools in those games, and the staff and board members and everybody was going to the games, and we would stream it on our page on the internet, and it's been a wonderful experience for the kids. But they need that physical exercise and the socialization as well, and to be exposed to other things. What else is out there? A lot of our kids, because we didn't have a high school, were accepted into top high schools throughout the region that some of them didn't even know about before they started traveling around with the sports teams.
So I know that, the public schools play other public schools, the Catholic schools play other Catholic schools. So the charter schools play other charter schools? Is that how that works?
Good question.
We've played charter schools and other private schools.
Okay. Okay.
You know,
Do you guys have a band?
we have a wonderful music program. The gentleman who is now our principal of our high school really got our music program started. He's an excellent musician, Mr. Derek Palmer, but he's so talented in so many ways. But we tapped him for the high school, and he's an amazing principal for the high school.
That's what I was going to follow up. The music and the arts you have great art programs and other programs like that outside of academics.
You know, we're adding to. You know, you start with what's required, and then you just keep adding.
We have a question from the audience. Gail Baxter. Question for Nadine. What is the selection process? What is the selection process? Does the charter school accept children with IEP, special needs?
You're breaking up a little bit. I think you said, do we accept children with IEPs?
Yeah, and what is the selection process?
Okay. Yes, we do. We absolutely do. Now, in terms of selection process for all students, or you mean because
I think it was for all students, and then there was a second part, which do you accept special needs?
Okay, for all students, it's a lottery. You put your name in, and we pull them out, and it's the luck of the draw. That's the only fair way to do it. So that we're not just picking the cream of the crop. We're working with every type of student from every background and educational experience.
Now let's finish the lottery. I'm looking at
Lorraine?
The lottery application deadline is on March 29th, the end of this month. Am I correct?
Correct.
Okay, so if anybody wants to apply or be part of the lottery process, where should they go? How can they do this?
Okay.
Or is it, because it's not close to the 29th, so just for those that are listening.
They can access the application through our website, which is charterschoolforeducationalexcellence.org, or they can also call the school and contact us at 914-476-5070, extension 4. Again, that's 914-476-5070, extension 4, or the website, charterschoolofeducationalexcellence.org. Now, I would like to include that our high school, just like our elementary and middle school, does have a very rigorous, challenging curriculum. Our students begin their Regents courses early, so that by 11th grade, they already have what's required for a Regents diploma. We also have a CTE program, Career and Technical Education program, which is another certification program for those students that might want to pursue other types of careers. We have the food service, we have health sciences, and we have the automotive program.
Nice.
The culinary arts program, I should say, not food service, culinary arts, actually.
Very nice.
That's good.
I want to go back to school.
And the automotive technology, and technology being a big part of it, because now everything is done through technology, computer.
Yes.
And so they'll be learning how to utilize technology in that field as well. We have a partnership with St. Joseph's Hospital for internships. We're collaborating with area colleges as well. So our students have the opportunity to start an early college program and get college credits by the time they graduate from high school. And I know for my daughter, who unfortunately was too old, she was already in high school when we opened the charter school, but through her school, she did that. She had 20, I think she had 21 credits when she, of college credits when she graduated from high school.
Wow,
You
that's
know,
incredible.
yeah. So, we're providing as many opportunities as possible for all of the students that we have so that every one of them knows when they're leaving the school, they're prepared to go on to college, go into a career, follow it more fully. They've gotten a taste of it to see what they like. They've explored different things. They've had internships. It's very, very important. We have a lot of children who just have absolutely no idea what to do, where to go, what they like, what they don't like, and get lost sometimes. We don't want any of our kids to get lost. We don't have time for our children to get lost.
Absolutely. Dr. Bob, any
So
questions?
let me personally extend a welcome to you, Miss Burns Lyons, to the show. I have to say that I've had the honor of going by the school on several occasions to pick up the very generous and much appreciated ad money that you guys have been placed for us. So I do get to see Carmen Gomez Goldberg pretty often during the course of the year. So, I mean, I certainly want to thank you, the organization, for supporting Black Westchester.
Oh, absolutely. Listen, this is our community. We have to support each other.
I wish everybody felt that way, but I digress. But
So I have to tell you, as a professional educator myself, and someone who happened to write a dissertation on public education in the United States and the impact of the charter school movement, one of the critical questions that are on the minds of at least a number of us is a concern that charter schools were originally conceived to sort of function as a Trojan horse, if you will, that would undermine the the union gains that have been made in our public schools. And I do know that, so I was curious to know, how does your school compare to that of public schools when it comes to the treatment of labor, the teachers? Do you guys have a union for your teachers? And if you don't, I simply don't know. Do you think you still do right by your teaching staff?
I'm very happy to answer that question. We absolutely do right by our staff. Otherwise, we wouldn't have them. So they would leave it someplace else where they could, have all the things that we need. I'm not either pro or anti-union. It really depends on the circumstance. If the employees are not getting what they need and they need a union, all well and good. I've never been in a union myself. I have worked in places that had a union, but I was always part of management. So, but I can tell you that we do our best to match whatever is going on in the district for our staff. And when we can do more, we do more, exceed it if we can. But, because, we are just the elementary, middle, and high school. So, of course, we're much smaller than the larger district. We're so more in tune and in touch every day on a daily basis with our staff. We're like family. we want to be sure that they are getting everything they need so they can do their job properly, so they can feel good about coming to work, so they can feel good and be in a good disposition to work with our students and our parents and with each other. We do a lot of team teaching at grade levels and working. They work together on everything. And, we go out of our way to try to make sure that they're treated as well as we would want to be treated, and as well as any teacher any place else that is in our union.
As I said, I've visited the school, and I was just reflecting while you were offering your commentary that my impression has been that it's an exceptionally warm, welcome, and happy staff. I've walked through the building, so I've been always very courteously and graciously welcomed by the security at the main desk to make sure that I'm authorized to be there. And then as I've had an opportunity just to walk on the first floor to use the restroom on one occasion, because they're going to make sure you don't have access to the kids without authorization.
That's right.
Is too much to their credit. But I did notice that the teachers seemed particularly, they seemed happy. They seemed like they enjoyed where they worked.
One of the things that we do at the charter school is we hire both new and experienced staff and put them together so that we have a constant flow of people that we can promote from within. All of our teaching assistants have bachelor's degrees. Most of them, almost all of them, have degrees in education and are on their way to getting certified to be teachers. And we did that deliberately so that the teacher, when the teacher has the teaching assistant in the classroom, he has someone that's truly a partner, or he has someone that's truly a partner. It's not a babysitter. It's a full partner. And that was important to us as well. And as I said, Mr. Palmer was our math teacher. He, because of his particular expertise in music in instrumentation, etc., he got that going with it's a school. He's also, because he is a Black male, has been an excellent role model for our students. He brings so much to the table. He hadn't thought about being a principal, but we encourage him. You have a master's degree. Go ahead, finish getting your administration degree. Listen, we're moving you on. And I think he really loves his job as principal of the high school at this point. I know the parents think he's wonderful, and the kids do too. We believe in helping people grow, not just the students, but also our staff.
That's great. And I just want to say, as a testament, Damon, Carmen also gave Damon a tour, my partner in Black Westchester, again, when he went to go pick up a check. And she gave them the full tour. And all I know is I got a call afterwards, one, to let me know he got the check, but two, he wanted to talk to the family because he was thinking about having his grandchild go there. He was like, "Oh, she's definitely going here," and that was right after his tour. He was like, "This is where my granddaughter's going." Like he was, he felt that confident after the tour he got. So I haven't personally been able to be there like that, but both Bob and Damon speak highly of what you're talking about and confirm what you're saying.
It's important. It's also important to note that the staff reflects the community.
Yes. So, all of our principals were teachers there first. So they proved themselves right there in the school of their compassion and their dedication in the classroom and interacting with the parents and the rest of the community. So we've promoted, all of those people were promoted from within. but we are looking for some more teachers. we do have some.
Good to know. Good to know. Yeah.
We have some openings. Yes.
Okay. If you let me know, we definitely we post job job opportunities, job openings. Because a lot of times when things are like that are available, it doesn't trickle down to our community. We have qualified people in some of our communities that don't get the information until it's too late. So if you want to, you or Carmen can provide me with
Yes.
what you're looking for or whatever, and I will definitely put a
Okay.
post on the website and then share it on social media because we want to promote more of our community having access to this kind of information. So
Definitely will do that.
By the way, AJ and Dr. Bob,
Yes.
we've been asked to join the Charter School of Excellence in May for Career Day. They asked the children, they gave them options of who would they like to see come in and invite, and they chose Black Westchester as one of the organizations to come in and speak. So I'll send you guys the info.
But I'd be delighted.
I'm honored.
Absolutely.
Thank you, Carmen. Thank you, everybody at the Charter School.
That's great. That's great. So, okay. So, I know we're coming kind of close to the end, but is there anything I didn't ask you that you want people to know about the charter school, about the process, about anything? Is there anything that, you want to get out that we didn't ask you?
Whew, I think we covered a lot of stuff. I just, invite people to check us out, to take a look at us. If you're looking for a school for your child, seriously consider the Charter School of Educational Excellence. Contact us at the website or the phone number that I gave you. Carmen Gomez Goldberg is our point person for all of that. She is a wonderful, energetic person. She will make sure that you have all the information you need and those kinds of things and answer your questions. Just, make an appointment if you want to see the school. I encourage you to do that. Right now we're not having open public meetings anymore, our meetings, but we have our meetings online and we do publish that in the newspapers when we're having our board meetings and they're open to the public. Get on Zoom and come to, see what we do in our board meetings, what we're up to, what we're doing. We're an open book. We work hard and we do have to raise a lot of money because, like I said, we don't get the full student allotment per student. And, but we welcome everybody and we work very well with the district because we're all part of the same community.
So I just want you to know. So while we're talking, questions are coming up in the comment section, and Carmen is already answering them. The question was, what is the number of students in the classroom? Carmen said 25, and then Stephanie said right under the state guideline. And I guess Carmen said we will all be invited to a high school ribbon cutting in July. So she's in the comment section answering questions before I can ask you. So I just wanted you to know.
And that is an example of how good the charter school is.
That's right.
You see how she responds to the audience? That's what they're like that with the parents and anyone else. What's Miss Burns? You kind of like a superhero too. You are also the executive director of the sharing community. Am I correct?
I was until July.
Okay.
I had been with that organization for 28 years and, kind of just moved. I was always part of administration, but I became executive director 7 years, almost 8 years ago. And, with the changing going on, last year, actually, the sharing committee was merged into West Hat.
Got it. Got it. But you're also involved in a lot of other boards and well, I don't know if you have time, but I know that you have been involved Black Women's Political Caucus and several other boards and organizations as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I just, I just go about doing what I think needs to be done. Because
And you're doing a great job. You're
the
doing an
work,
awesome job.
work is what is important.
Absolutely.
Both my parents were community activists in Long Island. And so that's what I know. My father served other people till he died, through his church, through community organizations. My mother did the same. And so that's what we know. My brothers and sisters and I, that's what we know,
Let me ask you a quick question. I know that the charter school is known for its academic excellence too. What are the test scores like?
Our test scores are out of this world. We're at the top all the time. But I have to give the credit to the leadership and the teachers and the support staff, because they make it happen. And the parents who work with the teachers. None of us can do this by ourselves. Some students are going to excel regardless of what's going on. Other students may not. They need that collaboration. And we're about that collaboration. We believe, and we know that every student can learn. And we want every single one of our students to learn to the best of their ability. And whatever it is that we need to do to make that happen, we're going to do it.
Absolutely. Yeah, we will definitely be. Let us know about the ribbon cutting. We will definitely be there to cover that.
Okay.
And put that in the newspaper and the whole nine. I just want to applaud you on the work. Like I said, I've been hearing good things. Of course, Lorraine and like I said, when Damon got the tour and he came out, like on the way back, he called me and he was raving about the school. That's like, this is where I want my granddaughter to go, and that says a lot from Damon. I don't know, you might not know Damon, but that says a whole lot about Damon. And I heard everything I needed to hear, like without seeing it myself. That was what I needed to hear. And then, what Bob said just now. And I wish you all the best. And I did know about the high school, because I know I think y'all even had a meeting. We've had a guy on from Amani Charter School in Mount Vernon, and I know there was some talk about some of the kids that when they get out of 8th grade, maybe possibly going to the high school when it opened.
Was that Jim Killoran?
No, I talked to Charles Stern, his wife. Charlie Stern's been. He's a frequent guest co-host of ours too.
Okay.
So he comes on, and sometimes, especially when we're dealing with national politics and stuff, he comes with stats and charts, and he does his thing. But
but shout out to Jim Kellerin, though.
Yeah, shout out to Jim Kellerin.
Listen, Carmen wrote, they are number 8 in the state of New York and were named the reward school by the state of New York for 6 years in a row.
I did want you to explain, you said that before, reward school. Explain to our viewers, our listeners, what is a reward school? What does that mean? Because, for people that don't know.
Okay, let me see if I can do this well, because I'm the person that the principal and the superintendents usually talk about that. But it speaks to the quality of the education, the performance of the students, the innovation in the educational techniques, the curriculum that you have. It encompasses all of those things. Of course, the test scores are important. So it considers all of those things.
Okay. So that's a beautiful thing. 6 years in a row.
Yeah.
And number 8 in the state, that says a lot. When a lot of the complaints around the state and the country is, a our test scores and our schools declining and stuff like that. It's good to hear. It's also good to hear that you are aware that all children are not going to be college bound when they leave high school.
Yes.
And that the certificate situation and teaching them trades to prepare them to go into the workforce.
Yes.
That's something we talk about here in Black Westchester a lot, that I want to see more schools do that. That's always a critique.
Our society has a tendency to go all to one thing or another thing.
Right.
And there's nothing wrong with either track.
Right.
College is not everybody's thing. And then some people, it may not be their thing now, but it may be. My father went to college as an adult.
Right.
He already had 5 children when he went to college and graduated.
My mother went back to school as when I was probably around 7 or so. My mother went back to school, and after 7 to 10, I had to feed my younger sister because she was in school at night after work. Yes, so
but he had learned a trade first.
Right.
Are there any obstacles that the school is facing that we can bring forth and help you out with? Educating anybody about it, or you guys are good?
I think all schools have some obstacles. There's never enough money. I don't care what school it is. It just seems to never be enough money for any public school. Other than that, every once in a while you have to deal with the different little pot shots people take at you, but we're too busy doing the work to worry about that.
Absolutely. Okay, now speaking about that, are you guys doing hybrid, or are you guys doing it all in or virtual?
We have some children who were 100% remote, some were hybrid, and we're going to 4 days a week in school. That's where we're going to start April.
Okay.
Any last questions, Lorraine, Bob, for our guests?
No. Good.
I want to thank you for coming on the show, giving of your time. I enjoyed this conversation. I've learned more about the school than I knew, and hopefully our viewers will as well. I'll make sure I put this on Black Westchester, the 2 separate interviews, and I share it, and give it to you so you can share it with people who haven't.
Great.
Yeah. So
much for having me. This has been great.
Yes. And I got to give credit where credit is due. Lorraine was like, we have to have her on there. And I was like, well, Women's Month coming up, schedule her for Women's Month. So this is celebrating one of our women of Westchester that people need to know about.
One of the women of Westchester too that people need to know about is the great Sabeda Cruz.
Absolutely.
Sabeda Cruz, Eddie Laguerre. Sabeda Cruz is a phenomenal woman. She's the owner of the charter school with her husband Eddie Laguerre, and she has been part of this community for as long as I can remember. Everything from cultural to educational to, on and on and on. And it's I'm just a proud Latina. When I hear her name and I hear Carmen's name with the charter school, it's wonderful to see. And she kept it in the community, like you said, Ms. Burns.
That's right.
She kept it in the community.
What we wanted to do. We didn't want to go locate it someplace else, she poo poo kind of stuff. We wanted it here. We wanted the people in the community to have easy access and enroll their children in this school. And, I call Sabeda my partner in crime because I've known her for many, many years. I knew her before I knew Eddie.
They're both amazing people. Amazing people.
Really, really are. When she was with the Power Authority, we collaborated on things. She's just a wonderful person, and also another ever-ready bunny. Energy to burn. All of these people have such dedication that we don't stop and think we're tired. We just keep going and we keep each other going because we have a purpose. We have a mission. And, we're not satisfied unless we are fulfilling that mission.
Fantastic.
I wish you all the best of success. And again, open door policy. If you need to address the community, you for whatever reasons, or you have issues that you need to address or whatever, just have Carmen call us or get in touch with Lorraine or whatever, and definitely please utilize us as a means of reaching the community. And thank you again for your support. I know people be like, oh, I'm always talking about advertising and stuff like that, but I want to thank a lot. I want to thank those who see the value in what we do and actually support us like that. And your school has definitely been on that list and it's a consistent supporter. So I have to just say thank you. We appreciate that because that keeps us going and allows us to give the information for free to the community.
We
what happened to us?
We have to keep you going.
Yeah, well, I appreciate that. I appreciate that. I wish everybody felt that way, but I definitely appreciate that. And I just want to thank you for all that you do. And like I said, whenever you need to come back, please just let us know. And happy Women's Month.
Thank you so much, and thank you, everyone. This was a pleasure.
The pleasure was ours.
Absolutely. Well, you have enjoy the rest of your weekend.
I will.
All right.
You too.
We look forward to
So we're coming to the close of the show, people. Any questions about our guest or the show today? Any comments that anything we needed to uplift, an events or anything that's coming up or that we previously went to or anything?
No, big shout out to my daughter, Taina. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday. Yeah, I forgot to start the show off by saying happy birthday to her. Happy birthday. I said happy birthday on Facebook already. Yeah.
I didn't know she had a Facebook. She told me she didn't have one. And then everybody's telling me, I said happy birthday to Taina on Facebook. I'm like, wait, what?
Well, obviously we're friends because I got the notification early this morning. I was like, hey, happy birthday. Yeah, I did the happy birthday. Yeah. So, Bob, my mind is shot. So we went to a press conference. What was that, yesterday? I know
you. Yesterday, wasn't it?
Yeah, man. It seemed like I went to the nurses thing on Friday and that yesterday. Would you like to speak briefly just about what it was, what you got out of that, what you got from it?
So it was exciting news for the educational community in New York State with the announcement by our newly elected congressman for our district, and I don't remember what district we're in, so everyone's going to forgive me.
I think we're 16. We're 16.
Okay. Congressman Jamal Bowman, who announced to great excitement and fanfare that we will soon be the recipient of a multi-year $1 trillion support package coming from Congress that's designed to really upgrade and, in many respects, modernize, perhaps even revolutionize the delivery of education in the local public school system.
In his district, which is, I think, Mount Vernon, Yonkers, and possibly New Rochelle, because that's the people from New Rochelle were there. And he has a little piece of the Bronx, too, I think.
Yeah, and I'm not sure how far north. And here, this is just my limited knowledge, everyone. And, those of you who know more will chime in perhaps online. I get the sense that our district extends further north to our.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't remember off the top of my head. That's bad, but yes.
Yeah, and what that just means that we're in the learning business with everyone else. But I know we had educators from as far north as Ossining. Everyone seemed quite excited because, amongst other things, it's going to provide much needed dollars to ensure that there's an upgrade in the curriculum with a focus on some of the STEM offerings I know that the congressman mentioned the possibility that we'll have the addition of new curricular program that are going to focus on emerging technologies of the future, that amongst other things will provide the groundwork, lay the groundwork for students to go into STEM fields, which will, we hope, allow for climate science and to focus on some of the climate challenges that we are facing. In addition, I believe some of those dollars are earmarked for actual upgrades in the physical infrastructure of many of our school buildings. And so, as we know, much needed upgrades, especially because, unfortunately, everyone, even though we'd like to believe in the best case scenario that this is going to be the last pandemic that we have to confront, the reality is that with so much that's going on in the global economy today, there is a strong likelihood that this is not going to be the last pandemic. And hopefully, if we make improvements to the physical infrastructure, including the ventilation system, and then install some of the scrubbers to clean out the air, it may mean we're better prepared the next time out, and we won't have to endure this year-long hiatus from in-class teaching, which has really took its toll on everyone. I got to tell everyone, I'm a teacher. As you'll know, I'm a college teacher. I would love to be back in the classroom. It's nothing like being with my students. I mean, AJ, as you know, work is one of the few social outlets I get. I really enjoy going to work. And so we're all hopeful that with the new dollars that the bill is going to bring in, that we'll be better prepared should we have a similar kind of national emergency to do it in a way that won't be quite as disruptive.
And you met somebody from your job. You met somebody from where you work that was at the press conference.
Yeah, we I think there were about 40 or so people from all across Westchester and the Bronx as well. A couple of women from my job and fellow alums from my job were there. And it was a really wonderful opportunity for us to network and to begin to get a sense of renewed optimism after, the shutdown that we've all endured for the past year.
So some of that money gonna go for mental health resources for these kids, do you know?
So offhand, Lorraine, I can't say that I recall specifically, but I do believe that one of the questions that was raised by some of the members of the media, as well as community members, was specifically about mental health treatment for our students because so many have fallen into depression. And I do believe that it was mentioned. I was drinking my tea and wanted to be respectful of everyone, so I was a little bit at a distance because I didn't have my mask on, and so I might have missed some of the details, but I do believe so.
I want to applaud the congressman who also comes from an education background, who founded a school and is an educator as well. Mm-hmm. And he's one of the committee he's on is education. And he, politicians talk a good game. Candidates talk a good game, and then you put them in office and you don't see them. And what we're working on 2-3 months in, and he delivers this big deal that's going to revolutionize our schools. And as Gary Pretlow said, some of these schools, when they haven't had this kind of renovation since the time of asbestos and lead paint. And you know what I'm saying? And the schools are still standing. And this will be the first renovation of the schools like since World War II or something like that. I think Pretlow said that the last time there was something this big. So as Stephanie said, yes, he definitely walks his talk. I definitely want to applaud him. And he's also had small roundtables for small businesses and for in the Mount Vernon, Yonkers, and New Rochelle area, and I've been part of a few of those. So I definitely want to applaud some of the work he's doing. He's out there, he's hitting the ground running. So and he's not afraid to say it. Like the beginning of our show. Shout out to wait. I don't do this often. I don't ever see this. Shout out to my partner in rhyme, William Taylor, B-Love of JBC4. I think this is probably the first time he's ever tuned in. So shout out to my partner in rhyme. Yo, what's up, fam? And I want to address. So Stephanie Swan said, "What are the chances, AJ, of getting the Greenberg Housing Commission Authority and Commissioner Renee Robinson to answer her allegations in the letter she submitted to Black Westchester?" We're booked show-wise, but I think we're going to have to do a special show. Hit me offline. We'll probably try to do like maybe a Friday night show or something, because there have been a lot of talk that the Greenberg Housing Authority and Commissioner Renee Robinson made some allegations about them relocating seniors and the conditions, and a lot of stuff was made. And then they had a board meeting or something recently, and one of the key people said a lot of the stuff she said was misleading and stuff. So we're gonna definitely do that, Stephanie, and definitely hit me offline and let's schedule that. Even if we have to do like a Friday night or something, it is definitely an important issue, and I'm gonna need other people, who can speak, that want to speak to support her. Since they're trying to say what she's saying isn't true. And let's make that happen. I definitely want to do that. So hit me offline. And I want to give a shout out to the New York State Nurses Association. They had a rally Friday that I was at. Probably 100 or so people there. And they're fighting for the racial disparities in healthcare and the treatment of Montefiore and Mount Vernon, New Rochelle, and some of the other hospitals, as opposed to the treatment in White Plains. Putting all the money in the White Plains Hospital and not and taking services from the Mount Vernon Hospital and threatening to close it at one point, and then not supplying the nurses in New Rochelle Hospital with the PPP, with the protective gear that they needed to do their job. Like, they didn't even have, they had to have a protest in front of New Rochelle Hospital before too. So they spoke up, and it was good to see all the unions came out. Barry McGooey was there, the Teamsters came out, the Machinists Union came out, like all the other unions came out that they are supporting and standing with the Nurses Association and whatever they need. And it was good to see that. And I'm on the steering committee for the Save and Transform Mount Vernon Hospital. So we're fighting it, and I just want to give them a shout, Women's Month and all that, but I want to give them a shout because they were in contract negotiations and could have negotiated their contracts, but held out to fight for the saving and transforming of Mount Vernon Hospital. They all could have dropped that part of the negotiation that they made it a talking point, signed their contract, got their raises, and even if they had to work in other hospitals, they would have stayed working. But they made this a talking point in the negotiation, and they didn't have to. And for that, I want to applaud them as we try to save and transform Mount Vernon Hospital and actually transform New Rochelle Hospital and hold Montefiore to hold their feet to the fire. They made a lot of promises when they took over for Sound Shore and Mount Vernon and New Rochelle, and they have not lived up to any of these promises. And, we have to step up together and let them know that is not acceptable. And for everybody outside of Mount Vernon and New Rochelle who said that doesn't affect me, Montefiore is trying to buy up all these hospitals. So it affects you. If they close Mount Vernon, that affects you because now your hospital is going to be flooded because people are going to have to go all to the area hospitals. And if your hospital is already overburdened, it's going to be way more overburdened. So it does affect you. And Montefiore might be buying your hospital and doing the same thing to your hospital next. So let's hold Montefiore's feet to the fire and stand with the Nurses Association and all those healthcare justice advocates. Shout out to Tracy McCook. Go ahead, Bob, and then Lorraine has something to say to it.
No, I gotta run. Right. I just want to say good night, guys.
Okay.
All right, lovely Lorraine Lopez. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Go ahead,
So-
Bob, and then we're going to wrap this
Yeah.
up. But go ahead.
Yeah, I just wanted to note that the press conference coincided with a report that the nurses union and other public health advocacy groups released that measured the inequities, that reforms that Montefiore has been making to the local healthcare system here in Westchester County has really had on Mount Vernon. For those of you who are interested in getting more details on the report, I urge you to go look at the lengthy article that LoHUD published on Friday that summarizes some of the main findings. I also just want to say, just to clarify, AJ, that Congressman Bowen met to announce the proposal for, it's not, the legislation has not yet been passed. I didn't want to give any misimpressions. It is a proposal for a green education bill. And so it calls for over $1 trillion in funding over the next 10 years if it's adapted, and it would lead to significant improvements in delivery of education. And
And so
questions.
that being said, everybody listening and everybody who will listen later needs to call their congressman and make sure that they support this. And that's how we do it. You know, he's putting it out there. He's representing us. We need to now. It's our job. We don't vote for him and then go back to sleep. We have to support those efforts that we're asking him and other elected officials to do when they step out the box and make these moves for us. So I just wanted to say all that. Shout to everybody tuned in. Like I said, my partner in rhyme, William Taylor, aka B Love. Sabeda Cruz, I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong. I know we spoke about, they mentioned you several times in the interview. Yonkers Councilwoman Tasha Diaz. Shout out to Tony Old School Mitchell. Mitch, what's going on, sir?
Yes, Mitch. What's up, Mitch?
Somebody, their Facebook name is Determined Crosby. I'm not sure if that's your name or just your Facebook name, but thank you for tuning in. She said, great interview. Hector Santiago, Leonard DJ Lenny from Yonkers, Gail Baxter with some very good questions, Maddie Cheatham Walker, Donna Nolan. She said, AJ sound like Barry White. And she said, AJ, you look very handsome tonight. Thank you very much, Donna. Carolyn Elizabeth, former Greenberg School Superintendent, Dr. Tahira Dupree Chase. I'm going to be addressing that too. The Greenberg School District gets the gas face for not renewing her contract when I seen all of her review was glowing. Y'all gave her glowing grades in every category. And y'all and she's been doing amazing things for the kids to transform the Greenberg School. And y'all did not renew her contract and brought somebody in whose contract didn't get renewed in whatever district he was in. So I'm about to go look that dude up to see what his qualifications is and why they didn't renew his contract. But and Stephanie said, "Oh, so does Dr. Bob look good too?" So let me not.
You might have saw I was red with jealousy. You know what? I mean, my man AJ got to get his props. I said, "What I got to do? Put on a fedora?" Donna, what's going on, Donna?
and shout to my cousin Tim Umstead. He's tuned in towards the end of the show just now. What's up, cuz? Yeah, man, we here every Sunday 6 to 8. We extended it. Now that we're not in the studio, every now and then we go over a little bit. We can do that because ain't nobody coming on after us, so we can do that. But yeah, this is what we do, real talk for the community. And I want to encourage everybody. Shout out to Lorraine, she had to go because officially we should be off the air by now. But she said, "I got you, Dr. Bob. That was for you." Allergies is kicking in right now, and something just got my throat.
Before we go, I wanted to tell our audience that to be sure to tune in all the time, but especially on March 28th, we're going to have the world-renowned physician, Dr. Kenneth Norris, out of UCLA to talk with us about the COVID vaccination program and to answer detailed questions that the audience might have. Dr. Norris has considerable experience in the field, and he's widely noted for a lot of the path-breaking studies that he does. And so I think any questions that people may have about the risks of getting the vaccination, why you should, and anything else, the way the studies were conducted, we're very grateful to have him on air on the 28th to talk about it with us.
Absolutely. And I also want to remind people that on Tuesdays, we do the Super Tuesday edition. And the reason for that is so we can have interviews like we had tonight. What happens is as we go into a primary, all we have is candidates, with people before politics, and we forget the people and we only deal with the politics. So we're doing most of the candidates on Tuesday. These two city council president last week and the councilman this week, they have their council meetings on Tuesday. So that's the reason why they were on the Sunday show. But most of the candidates you will see will be on our Super Tuesday show. So definitely check that out. I think that's everything. Oh, and one last thing. Thank you to everyone for the overwhelming support, the congratulations. I won a journalism fellowship from the Craig Newmark School of Journalism at CUNY, it comes with a stipend to cover 4 stories about the New York City race going up into the primary. I got to do 2 stories by April and 2 stories by the June primary, and it's this is all new to me, this fellowship thing. But the first thing I did when I got the email, I sent it over to Bob. And he was like, "Yo, this is a big deal, dude." So and then he wrote a few words about it, and it's in the paper and on the website. And I've gotten a lot of congratulations everywhere I go, and I haven't been able to say thank you to everyone. So thank you everyone for all the love, all the congratulations, and hopefully this is the beginning of a whole lot of new stuff coming up for Black Westchester as we enter our 7-year anniversary. Stephanie, yes, I will be following up on Dr. Dupree on that situation. And Greenberg, I got you with that House and Authority situation. I got you, Renee Robinson. Stephanie, please hit me offline, and we will schedule that, even if we do a special show, because I'm getting a lot of calls from Greenberg, and a lot of people are not happy. So we want to give some of them a chance to talk about how they're handling the situation. The city is saying it's not happening that way. And once I get all of y'all on the show, then I will take that to Paul Feiner, and y'all give me the names. I'll take it to everybody that needs to take it to, and have them address the allegations. So we're on it. Greenberg, I got you. Just Stephanie, follow up with me. And anybody else in Greenberg, just follow up with me with that, and we'll try to put that together in the next week or 2. That's it, man.
That's it, brother?
I think so. We shout to Lorraine again. She said gotta go. She had to go. But I thank her she booked both of our guests tonight. Thank you for scheduling the guests. I enjoyed the last one. I enjoyed both of them, but the last one especially, that was our seller. We're trying to celebrate as many women of Westchester for this month. We celebrate women every month, but this is officially Women's Month, so we're trying to cram in as many women. And this issue, I pushed it back again. Hopefully it'll be out this Friday. I'm cramming in as many women of Westchester that I can, not politicians, not people who we've celebrated before and have passed. We're celebrating these women and giving them their flowers while they're still alive. So hopefully this will be a collector's item, and a lot of y'all want to get this copy. And everybody I've been getting asking about subscriptions. If you want to have it mailed, pay to have it mailed to your house and or office, hit us at blackwestchester@gmail.com for subscriptions. And with that said, the next issue's coming out, this week, and then I'm right away working on the April issue. So when you get your advertising in, hit us now, blackwestchester@gmail.com. Any last words, Dr. Bob?
No, it's wonderful to be back, and I have to tell everyone I've been removed from Facebook jail, the proverbial Facebook jail. So now I can.
Congratulations!
Yeah, thank you, and I'm going to see if I can stay out, not be a serial recidivist.
Right. You and Damon. It's funny. It's been you and Damon. I got a warning, I think, once too, but that was it. But I'm the one writing all the articles. I guess it's the stuff y'all are saying on Facebook. I'm saying it.
I try to be on my best behavior when I'm on air with you, AJ, but unfortunately, I don't have those kind of restraints on me when I'm on Facebook on my own. And so, yes, but that's to say, I can actually reply to people. So,
Well, again, you could be doing anything else right now, but you decided to ride with us, and we greatly appreciate it. This has been Black Westchester Presents the People Before Politics radio show, episode 291. We're 9 episodes away from our 300th episode. Did you hear me? Episode 291. Streaming to you live on Facebook and YouTube. Yeah, I almost said Instagram again. Streaming to you live on Facebook and YouTube every Sunday night, 6 to 8. Until next week, peace.
22 million black victims of Americanism are waking up, and they're gaining a new political consciousness, becoming politically mature. And as they develop this political maturity, they're able to see the recent trends in these political elections. Any minority that has a block of votes that stick together is in a strategic position. Either way you go, that's who gets it. You're in a position to determine who go to the White House and who stay in the doghouse. You're the one who has that power. You and I have never seen democracy. All we've seen is hypocrisy. When we open our eyes today and look around America, we see America not through the eyes of someone who has enjoyed the fruits of Americanism. We see America through the eyes of someone who has been the victim of Americanism. We don't see any American dream. We've experienced only the American nightmare. We haven't benefited from America's democracy. We've only suffered from America's hypocrisy. And the generation that's coming up now can see it and are not afraid to say it. 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 And are not afraid to say it.